If you're a dog owner, you've probably been there. That little moment of panic when you put down a full bowl of food and your best friend just walks away. It's such a simple thing, but man, it kicks off a huge question in our minds, right? Today, we're going to get some real, clear answers. So there it is. The food's down and crickets. Your dog gives it a sniff and then looks at you like, nope, not today. So what's going on here? Is this just a fussy moment, or is it the first sign of something you really need to worry about? Honestly, knowing the difference is absolutely critical.
All right, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and get right to the number everyone asks about. For a typical healthy adult dog, the general survival window without any food is about 3 to 5 days. It's a number you see a lot, and it really does show how resilient they can be.
But, and this is a huge but, that number is just the starting point. And frankly, relying on it can be pretty dangerous. The real story is so much more complicated. It depends on their age, their size, their health, and one other thing that's even more important than food.
So let's dive into what's actually going on inside your dog's body when they stop eating. We're going to look at the science of it all, how their metabolism works, and what the process of starvation really looks like for them.
Okay, so after about 24 hours with no food, a dog's body, which has a way faster metabolism than ours by the way, it kind of flips a switch. It starts burning through its fat reserves to keep the engine running. But if that goes on for too long, the body gets desperate and starts breaking down muscle tissue, which is when you start risking serious organ damage.
And we've all heard those unbelievable survival stories, right? Like Bella, this lab mix who somehow made it 23 days lost in the mountains. I mean, it's just incredible. It shows you what they're capable of. But here's the key. These are total exceptions. They're miracles, not something we can ever use as a guideline for care.
Now, let's talk about the real emergency clock, the one that's ticking down way, way faster. 2 to 3 days. What's this timeline for? Water. You see, this is why a lack of water is so much more dangerous than a lack of food in the short term. Dehydration makes everything worse, and it does it fast. It actually thickens their blood, which puts a massive strain on the heart and kidneys. Without water, their body can't even use its own fat for energy properly. Organ failure can happen terrifyingly quick.
Okay, so that 3 to 5 day window we mentioned, you kind of have to throw it out the window because it is not a one-size-fits-all rule. It changes, and sometimes it changes dramatically, depending on the dog.
Size, for example, makes a huge difference. A giant breed like a Great Dane, well, they've got more in the tank, more reserves to pull from. They might last a little longer. But a tiny dog, like a little Yorkie, their metabolism is like a hummingbird's. For them, just 12 to 24 hours without food can trigger hypoglycemia. That's dangerously low blood sugar, and that is a true medical emergency.
And age is just as critical. Puppies are basically little growing machines that need constant fuel. They just don't have the fat stores to get by. And on the other hand, our senior dogs, well, their systems are often a bit weaker, they might have underlying issues, and any period of fasting can be a really serious threat.
And you know, if your dog already has a health condition, all bets are off. The rules completely change. For a dog with diabetes, a missed meal can cause a dangerous blood sugar crash. For a dog with kidney problems, breaking down muscle for energy releases toxins their kidneys just can't handle. For any of these dogs, a skipped meal is never, ever a wait-and-see situation.
Okay, so we know who's most at risk. Now let's talk about what you need to actually look for. How can you tell the difference between a dog who's just being picky and a dog who's in real trouble? Let's walk through the signs, from the small stuff to the big stuff. This timeline really puts it all in perspective. At 24 hours, that internal switch gets flipped. But the 48-hour mark, that is your giant flashing red flag. That's the moment it's no longer wait and see, it's time to call the vet. After that, you're really pushing into the danger zone of muscle breakdown and even irreversible damage. And hey, it's not just about what's not happening at the food bowl. You got to keep your eyes peeled for these other signals. Being super tired, vomiting, sunken eyes, these are all signs of distress. And pay close attention to that last one, pica. If you see your dog start eating dirt or chewing on fabric, that can be a sign of extreme hunger, a desperate attempt to get any kind of nutrients.
Okay, knowing the signs is one thing, but having a clear game plan is what really counts. So let's walk through the exact steps you can take at home and, most importantly, when to stop what you're doing, pick up the phone, and call your vet.
So, if your dog has just missed a single meal and they seem totally fine otherwise, here are a few gentle things you can try. Warming up their food a little bit makes it smell way more appealing. Or you could mix in a little treat, like some plain chicken. Sometimes just sitting with them and hand feeding or moving their bowl somewhere quiet can make all the difference.
So here's the rule of thumb. If they are still drinking water, acting pretty normal, and it's only been one meal, it's usually okay to just monitor them for about 24 hours. But, and I cannot stress this enough, you know your dog better than anyone on this planet. If your gut is telling you something's off, listen to it, period.
All right, now for the hard lines, the non-negotiables. If they're not eating and you see vomiting, diarrhea, or any sign of pain, you call the vet immediately. And remember those high-risk groups we talked about? Puppies, seniors, dogs with health problems? For them, the grace period is 0. One skipped meal is all it takes to warrant a call to the vet.
You know, the goal is to never find yourself in a state of panic, scrambling, and wondering what to do. The best way to handle any of this stuff is to be proactive, to be prepared for anything, whether it's a picky day or a power outage.
This is such an important thing to remember. We might look at our dogs and see a little wolf in there, but centuries of domestication have fundamentally changed them. We've bred them to be our partners, and in doing that, their very biology now depends on us showing up for them consistently.
And look how simple being prepared can be. Putting together a little go kit gives you so much peace of mind. A couple weeks of food, a way to get clean water, their vet records. It's a simple checklist that could make all the difference in a real emergency. And that's really what this all boils down to, right? This isn't about pushing our dogs to their absolute survival limits. It's about understanding those limits so we can give them the amazing, consistent, loving care they need to truly thrive, not just get by.
So, now you've got the knowledge, you can spot the warning signs, and you have a clear plan of action. The only real question left is for you. Are you ready to put all that to use and be the prepared, proactive protector your dog is counting on? Thanks for joining me.